I'm learning every day.
Oh, who did this?
I think this was back in the...
I think it was Penny. Must have dropped.
It just seems impossible that he's not here with us. But he is, at the end of the day. He's here in each of you. He's here in who you are to each other as colleagues and as friends in tennis. Dad had a gift. I witnessed it my entire life since my earliest tennis memories on court. Tennis teaching was his life passion. It was Dad's purpose. Many go through life and miss out on pursuing their passions, but not Don, a better teacher of tennis and of life. The tributes, memories, videos, and photos of Dad that, again, many of you share. I'm sure to all of you. So thank you for all that, and please keep it going.
Here we are, we're celebrating the coach and the teacher who was Don Henson and my father, but he was a really accomplished player. This top that I'm wearing today was his University of Vermont college tennis sweat jumper. Sorry, I had to go Australian on you guys there. Jumper is Australian. Sweat top. So really happy to honor his memory. Wanted them to be a part of the California division. He got lost in the shuffle, some politics down there, and as my brother mentioned, he always wanted to come to LA. He always wanted to set up shop here, and even having commuted from San Diego.
Chances are you've heard of him. Chances are you already know him. Chances are you've been influenced by him. And chances are you've come up through the USPTA ranks through him by way of certification. That's a pretty big statement to say about someone, but every much of it is true. Growing up in an Irish neighborhood of Providence, Rhode Island, tennis was the furthest from Don's mind. Hockey was his sport of choice in his rough and tumble environment. He excelled on the ice and landed a scholarship as a goalie at the University of Vermont. He did dabble with tennis and was good enough to play on the UV tennis team as well. And Patrick did share his story of how he started tennis. The gentleman of whom I speak of is our very own Donald E. Henson. Don's tennis career is as vast as it is varied, and it continues to grow to this day. The master professional started his USPTA, or should I say USPLTA, which stands for the Lawn and Tennis Association, career back in September of 1966. Don devoted most of his professional life that wanted to share a quick story of maybe how you met him, or a funny story that you might want to share with the rest of us. So anybody that wants to, please come up.
He touched so many lives. He had a special gift to make you feel special. He truly did. His mission was to give each individual a foundation on which to grow, not only as players but as individuals. His passion was to teach and to teach others. I'm just very grateful for...
We're very grateful to be here. Within the first 30 seconds of seeing Master Don Henson, he taught me my first lesson. That later I found out. He says that your presence speaks louder than what you are saying. I was late to Las Caballero for the USPTA certification, and I walked in the room and there he was, or is, standing behind the bar. I don't know what he was saying, but he captured me. That instant, I knew that my bridge to the next life is there, within 30 seconds.
I remember when a dozen or more of us tennis teachers gathered here for the test. We brought our chairs out onto the grass area right over there. He always wanted us to meet and talk and introduce ourselves and learn about each other and about them. We were all thinking what great teachers we were at that point. We wanted the USPTA certification to tell everybody how great we were. Well, after the mandatory self-introductions, Don had this entire group skipping like children all around our chairs on the grass in the park. How embarrassing. We all thought, what have we signed up for? Don went on to help us understand athleticism with that exercise. That is how he taught us that tennis teachers are to help players become great athletes who happen to play tennis.
Penny, I don't know a lot of the folks that put all this together, but I'd like it if you could give me a round of applause for Mina and Mike and my crew who put the event together today. Mina, you want to raise your hand? Thank you very much. I'll only tell a couple quick stories if we fast for the rain gets here. But Don's last student, somebody that he really loved a lot but couldn't be here today, was Linda, the little gal that he discovered in the sessions here, and had her come out and hit, and just fell in love with her, and he was like a father figure to Linda. She'd had a rough time in life, and he just loved Linda so much, and he was so incredible to her. Her statement, I think Simon said, send one statement, because she wanted me to say, Don said, in life and in tennis, there's always a way, find it. And that was the kind of guy Don was. And then we talked about faith. And Don, you know, just like all your stories, he said, you know, I've got a Bible in here. And he started talking about the book of Genesis. And he brought the Bible out. And he said, Steve, took me 6 months just to get 7 or 8 pages through the book of Genesis. It was all marked up, typical Don Henson. It was all marked up, and we got into this discussion. He just was such an authentic, caring, loving guy. I want to thank Don's family as well. For Don, he always invited all my pros through the years. Don's been coming here since I've been here. Started the tennis center in 1992. And I did not know Don. He rolled in as a master tennis professional. He always invited all my pros to sit in for free. He was always willing to talk to me. I became such a better, like many of you, I was an All-American tennis player at Texas A&M. I thought I knew tennis. I knew nothing about teaching tennis. Don helped me teach tennis, and particularly, as a personal note, I wish I had started on the clay court. I built 2 of them and played all over Southern California, all in the 40s, 45s, 50s, trying to get the gold ball. Did not get it. Don said tennis is meant to be played on a clay court. Too bad you didn't start earlier. And I said, well, I'm pretty good. He goes, yeah, you're a good regional player. It's that good. He goes, you're good on a cement court, but tennis is really on a clay court. You have to be a better athlete. I keep hearing through all the talk about be a better athlete, have good balance. I didn't have that. I just played a Southern California type game. Pete Sampras, all offense, didn't know anything about the rest of the game. Don was such a master. I got to be Linda's hitting partner for about a year, and I learned so much. It was so much fun to go out on the clay court and watch him, and they would get in disputes, and then they would argue like an old married couple, and then they'd come back, and I'd just wait for them, and it was really fantastic. So I want to thank Simon again and the whole crew for putting this. You guys finally did it, the Henson family. We finally had it. Thank you so much.
So, and when you come and all the flowers are dying, if I'm dead, as dead I will, the place where I am lying, there near, and say,